welcome. We're going to do today a shiur on Shavuot. And before that, first of all, I want to dedicate this shiur to Ilui Nishmat Yosef Ben Abdallah and to the Tes and Matzlocha, Tegel Sarah Bat Ruven Lev, and Chaya Rachel Bat Sarah. Every time we have a Jewish holiday, there is a certain mark in a Jewish calendar. We need some window open. There's a certain window that opens. And in order to understand which window is open in front of each and every one of us, when we reach that point in time, we need to really dwell inside in terms of the eternal part or the spiritual aspect of Islam. The Ari says that if a person would have done everything he was commended throughout the year all around, he could have, with 1 year, to finish the whole tikkun of his neshama, his whole fix of whatever his neshama needs to fix. Why? Because throughout the year, and in every year, there is that program and the ability and the chance to make the tikkun itself. In other words, the whole entire year is divided into such parts, such segments, and the whole program is within it. But, most of us are not able to complete that tikkun, and that's why the word shana is also from the word shoneh, mishnot, mishnah, and so on and so forth. Also, shana is also shoneh, which is also different or other, but also repeating. That, in a way, the program that we're running in our hardware is coming every single year in a different manner, because we do change. So this program is very sophisticated. It has the ability to change itself to our needs every single year. However, every year has that ability, if we choose to make the tikkun, to fix up. Now the word chag, which is a holiday, also shares the same root of the word lachug. Lachug is to spin around, like a circle, like choni hame'agel, right? Lachug, ma'agal, spin around. In other words, we always come to the holiday or to any holiday in a circular motion. And everything is so we could come to the purpose that we came here to this world, and that's called tikkun olam. Now, there is a certain, call it rule, in learning the internal parts of the Torah, that we say that nothing is lacking in spirituality, nothing is lacking. For example, we know that there is a heavenly voice that comes out, or a voice, for example, of a person comes out from his mouth, is basically stays in space forever. So is a spiritual. Now you might understand when the Midrash tells us that every day there is a battle that comes from Har Sinai, from Mount Sinai. So you could say that every day this thing rejuvenates, it's a new voice, or that voice that we heard from Sinai keeps on wandering through the world, and every single day. So something that happened one time, in terms of an event that happened one time, is basically stays there forever. It depends on where you look. Again, if we were talking about the stars, so we could look at something in the past, of a star that was created 2 billion years ago, and we could see it today. So in a way, it still exists. So somewhere along in space, the event of receiving the Torah still exists. Now, everything is dependent on the level that you're at how much you could connect with that event. It depends on your level. So is Matan Torah, which is Chag Shavuot, receive the Torah. It says in the name of the Baal Shem Tov that a person is mechuyav every single day to hear those 10 commandments that we're giving, and in a way, that voice still exists somewhere in space. Every single day, you should hear it. In other words, bring himself up to a level that he could connect with that event, that he could hear it. The issue, the inyan from Matan Torah that happened in Har Sinai, giving the Torah in Sinai, now, it's not the Perush that then the Torah was given one time and after that, that was it. We said before that in spirituality, there's no such thing of a limit or something that it's missing. In other words, in spirituality, is something eternal that is continue going and happening and does not stop. And in the other hand, it is in terms of the person or the element that gives it, there's no change. But therefore, all the changes depends on the receiver, not on the element that gave them. So they say that the Kubalim says the Shana v'Shana, in every year, yesh zman kabbalat Torah. Every year there is the time in which we receive the Torah, that they call it the elements in heaven, the stars, whatever is happening, that everything is set down to receive the Torah. Why? Because the time that is happening in that particular time in year, that spot, is really what we call la Torata Dilta, right? We could have a certain awakening from then, because then the time is being awakened, and we are able, if it was revealed within us in this world, we could receive it, and then by this creating this tension and energy, so-called, we could receive and reveal the light of Matan Torah inside of us, and then this is how we connect. For that, in order to do so, of course, there is an awakening from above that gives an ability or the opportunity for us in this world to be able to execute that. In other words, we get the okay from the heavens, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore we could execute that action of receiving the Torah. As much as we were ready to receive the Torah in Mount Sinai, and then we got ourselves ready, and then God gave it to us, and so on. So therefore, you learn from this that any person who is a wise man, in other words, who's thinking with an open hand, really needs to understand, to try to be able to really forcefully awaken himself towards this Chag Shavuot. I mean, you need to prepare yourself. You need to do something now, not then. Now, the hachana, the preparation, which they did, it was 3 days beforehand. So in order to receive the Torah, you need to have that preparation to do so, like before you go on a journey, right? You go on the journey, you have to check your car, you have to check your battery, the tire and brakes and the oil and so on and so forth. So this time that we're going to experience now, the method even today, is like a spiritual gas station where the neshama could receive that great light of lighthood, which is the light of Torah. So we need to really deal with this now and really put this into ourselves to awaken ourselves up. So Am Israel is really commended in the Torah to celebrate 3 holidays, which is Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot. In the first 2, we always celebrate 7 days. And in Shavuot is a holiday of 1 day. Okay, outside of Israel it's 2 days, but really it's a holiday of 1 day. Chazal call Shavuot in a different name. They call it Atzeret. And it's very interesting why they call it Atzeret. In Sukkot, after the 7 days of sitting in the Sukkah, we celebrate a different holiday. Similar, it's called Shmini Atzeret. So it says in Sefer HaToda'ah, which is a very interesting Sefer, that Shavuot is called Atzeret, and I'm quoting לפי שעיקר עניינו של חג זה, the main focal point of this holiday, שהוא שמיני אחר שבעה, is the 8th after 7 days of a holiday, and also Chag HaMatzot is connected with it, and so on and so forth. והמשכיו והוא סיומם, and then the continuation, and then it's the end of it. And then we have the days of the Sfirah that we count, right? We count. So we have Shavuot, but beforehand we have Pesach, and then we count the days. We do Sfirat HaOmer, and between them we don't stop because we count every single day. 1 day to the Omer, 2 days to the Omer, and so on and so forth. So now they say in Sefer HaToda'ah that those days are like Chol HaMoed. In other words, we have the first day of the Chag, and then we have the last days of the Chag. So Sfirat HaOmer, to that matter, is like the Chol HaMoed that is not a stop in one holiday and then another holiday. It's not a pause. It's just a continuation. So therefore, they call it, for example, the Chag that we have now. As much as we had Sukkot and then we had Shmini Atzeret, here they call it Atzeret because it's Atzeret of Pesach. So now, if you look at this way, there is something that is phenomenal. It's exciting. In a way, Pesach and Shavuot, according to that, is one holiday, and the whole period in which we count the Omer is actually one unit. That's why we could always make a bracha if we didn't stop in the count. It's a continuous count. And that Chol HaMoed is going after, instead of having 7 days, it's lasting to us 7 weeks. Even though Sfirat HaOmer is the time that is not simple for most people, but nevertheless, it is a time of rejuvenation. It's a time of positive spirituality that allows us to come through the preparation, to come to Shavuot with the spiritual uplifting. And that's something that we need to understand and utilize this time. We don't want to go through another year and see that it was wasted. Now, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak from Berdichev says that the word atzeret, the meaning of that is la'atzor, is to hold on, to breath, and to receive. And what he's receiving is receiving the shefa elyon, the abundance that comes from above. Now, that is in Sefer, if you want to look further, is in Sefer Kedushat HaLevi. So on the 51st day, we really stop, and then we receive all the Kedusha that we collected during the 50 days that came before the Atzeret, right, before the Chag. Our soul really stops from all these troubles of this world, and then since it starts from dealing with all the nitty-gritty of life, it has the time and the vacancy to receive the abundance, to receive the shefa, to connect with the light, to reconnect and receive the Torah all over again with great love and great simcha and great joy. And that is, again, another part of the preparation. We need to understand what is expected of us and what we need to do in order to really appreciate it. We can't really appreciate things if we don't know them or we don't understand what they are. So far we were talking a little bit about the great holiness of the Kedusha of Chag HaShavuot, that being a station or point in time and space where it holds within itself tremendous light, such great light, as we learn from the words of Rabbi Elimelech Milishins, and he says that in Sefer HaTorah, the Kedusha, the holiness of the parchment, right, between the letters is greater than the Kedusha of the letters of the Torah themselves. Why? Because each one of the letters only has its own Kedusha by itself. But the parchment, right, the clear parchment, holds the whole Kedusha of all the letters together. Look at Noam Elimelech on the Torah on that matter. So in a way, every single letter in the Torah is a tzimtzum of the great light. And the parchment is really, in a way, like the Ein Sof itself. So in the same manner, the days of counting the Omer from Pesach to Shavuot are days of din, of tzum, or restriction, right? And every single day, I mean, that to a certain part we don't take haircuts, we don't listen to music, to certain parts of that, because the din is great, right? And every single day, a certain light comes out, and therefore we do the tikkun of the day on the seven Lord Sfirot that inside of us, as we say, Chesed shebegvura, Gvura shebechesed, Yesod shebemalchut, and so on and so forth. Those 50 days are, in a way, the letters of the Torah. And Chag HaShavuot is Atzeret, which we call Atzeret, is, in a way, the clear parchment that holds everything. The clear parchment is the space and time where the great light is being revealed. And in the Kabbalah, we say there are three different stages of development of a human development. Excuse me. We have what is called Ibur, Yenika, Umochin. Ibur will be to get pregnant. Yenika is to breastfeed or to receive, and Mochim is the mind. So Chachamim says, how, for example, how is a baby being nourished, right? So when he's in the stomach of his mother, in the womb of his mother, everything is dependent on the mother 100%. The baby is nourishing from their blood, it gets oxygen and so on and so forth, completely dependent on the mother. That's called Ibum. Ibum is shown Ubar. Ubar is a baby, embryo. After that, the baby is born, but it's still, the baby is not completely independent, right? So her blood goes one level and it becomes pure and then turns into milk. So from blood, red, it becomes white milk, right? And white is chesed. That's why, by the way, one of the reasons we wear white on Shavuot and on Yom Kippur as well. So now she can give him life, right? And that's called, she gives him, she feeds him. That's called yenika, feeding. When he gets older, and of course there are stages, you don't jump from one stage to another stage. That's good for calves or for colts. But for humans, we need to understand it. See, it is programmed within our own being, the fact that you need to go from one stage to another. You can't jump from one stage. A baby cannot nurse, and then as soon as he's done nursing, he's going to start reading encyclopedias. It doesn't happen. So when he acquires mochin, intellect, now he's independent. Now he could influence for himself, others. He could help people who are less than him, and so on and so on. He can give, and so on and so forth. So from here, you could see that the milk is the practical expression, the fundamental expression of giving, of actual giving, right? Because that's what the baby eats first of all. The baby eats milk. That's why we eat milk on Shavuot. Why? From the process that we were talking about, Pesach, then Omer, then Shavuot, we learn that these are one Chag that has within it Ibum, Yenika, Umochim. Ibum was in Mitzrayim, right? Lela Seder was the Leda, was the birth, when we became a nation. So the person goes from one place, and the very, very narrow place, Makom Tsar, Tsar is Mitzrayim, right? And he goes up to the world. Now he goes to 49 days. 49 days, 7 times 7 of Sfirat HaOmer. That's Yenika. That's breastfeeding, feeding. And that stage, right? You really are able to work on yourself, and you need slowly to build yourself up, right? And until you get to Sfirat HaOmer. At the end of this process, on the 50th day, you get mochin, you get an intellect. And what's at the end of the 50th day? That's Torah. You get the Torah, which is very interesting to see. Another hint on the matter. If you compare that to the 3 holidays, Pesach and Sukkot, which take 8 days each one, 7 plus the 8th one, Shmini Atzeret or Simchat Torah. So therefore, why Shavuot is only 1 day? And the secret is, or you can find it in the other name of Chag HaShavuot, as we said before, Chag HaAtzeret. and those days I mean, looking like this and realizing that gives us a totally different aspect in terms of what are those days and how we should prepare and what is the spiritual aspect of those holidays. Now we should understand that holidays in Judaism are not how should I say it? Memorials for for things to happen. It's not just like rituals as to remember something, but even more so, the holidays are really windows to a energy that takes place in the present. The Ramchal writes that when the time of the Chag is coming back to us, right, is going to shine upon us a special light that shone on not only today, but today it's shining as it was done the first time. And therefore, it is coming through us that the tolada of that tikkun, the derivative of that tikkun will take place. In other words, there is no lacking in anything spiritual. Anything that happened, we could tap into that energy again. So therefore, as much as they came out of Mitzrayim and they said in Sukkot, right? And we say every person, a person should see himself as he came up from Mitzrayim. Now you understand why. To be able to connect yourself to this energy of freedom, that you would not forget and choose to enslave yourself. And so is to all the Chagim, right? There's a certain, those Chagim happen because of something spiritual happening there, and therefore it's a window for us to tap into. So now, whether it's, again, and it's the same thing in Chanukah, it's the same thing in Purim, and so on and so forth. In other words, every single year, you could feel in every holiday as it happened on the first time. If you would light the menorah of Chanukah with the proper kavanah and the proper excitement, you could feel, you could tap into that pipe of, or to this jet stream that they felt as when they lit the menorah, or Purim, or any Chag like this. However, that it depends on us. That's depending on us, not on anybody else. It's up to you how much are you going to work and make yourself sensitive on that. Now, we know that the Torah we could interpret in 4 different ways, right? Which is Pshat, Remez, Drush, and so on. So the Mekubalim, Baalei Asod, write that the stories of the Torah, of course, are not just historical stories or folklore stories, but much more than that, much more than that. They are description of a spiritual process that every person must go through. In other words, it's Yat Mitzrayim. It's not just historical, but it is a movement in your soul that a person should be able to execute. So now, if we're going to talk about now why the color white is associated with this holiday, with this Chag, we already spoke before about the milk and so on. But now let's go a little bit further. Well, let's see how we can answer it maybe through the Zohar. Now, the color white represents giving, influence, giving, sharing, and that's the only, and the reason is because that's the only color that doesn't take to himself. In other words, it doesn't take the energy to itself. If you're going to look at the scientific definition of that, you'll find a similar maybe expression to that, where a color is a sensation that is being created in our mind while we're looking at objects that that light is either being lit on them, or that they reject from, right? So, for example, the color black is a color that swallows all the light. We're talking about black hole and so on and so forth. That's why color black is not considered as a color. Our eye doesn't really see black. It's only able to see what reflects the light. The color white reflects all the light that comes from it. Everything that comes out, that's why it's white. That's why the upper sphera, the keter, is a special type of white that holds all the colors in it. I don't have the words to really describe it, but it will be a white that you would be able to feel all the colors within it. Now, thinking about that, and in Sefer Shmot, it says to us, that's why we need to wear this, because the other reason is because when we learn the Torah, the whole purpose that we're learning the Torah is in order to hand it over. Because Kiyum HaMitzvot, doing the mitzvot, establishing the mitzvot and establishing Jewish life is dependent on the movement from stage 1 to stage 2. Without that movement, nothing else will happen. What's the stage 1? Lilmod. What's stage 2? Lelamed. So Lilmod Lelamed, that's the most important stage. If there's no such thing as giving, sharing with the other, giving everything you have, there's no kiyuma mitzvot. There's no shmirata mitzvot. It's just knowledge that you're learning like in college after. The whole kiyuma mitzvot is dependent on your, in other words, since kiyuma mitzvot is dependent on giving, therefore one of the essence of the Jew is that he would be willing to give in unconditional manner. And we need to remember that. In Sefer Shmot Rabbah, it's really described the case of giving the Torah when Mount Sinai is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I'm reading, כשנתן HaKadosh Baruch Hu את התורה, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Torah, ציפור לא צפצף, there were no birds chirping, no birds flying, no animals making any sound, שור לא גאה, עופים לא עפו, שרפים לא אמרו, even the angels did not move. No, they didn't even say Kadosh in the sky. Hayam lo nizda'azeh. The ocean was flat. Abriot lo dibru. Humans did not speak. Ela ha'olam shotek u'macharish. The world was quiet. And you should know that all the nations knew that we received the Torah. And the whole world was waiting for us to receive the Torah. That light that came from that point, that great light that we received, that light has a special name of it. That light is called Torah. So when you receive the Torah and you're learning the Torah, you are connecting yourself to an unbelievable light, unbelievable funnel of abundance that's coming to you. The Torah is not only a book. It's not just a collection also of laws and commandments as we think, but the Torah holds within itself the light itself in which the world was created. The Torah is the manuscript in which the world was created. The instructions of how we could connect ourselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how we could connect ourselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu through the light that we call mitzvot. Mitzvot from the Shon Tzavta. Tzavta is together, chibur. So you could not connect yourself to the light. You cannot connect yourself to God unless you're going to be doing the mitzvot, because it is all about doing it together. Yes, we did hear some not nice comments on the Jews that we are, because of the Jews, Corona, Corona. That's not understanding what Jews are all about. We are people who like to share things with one another. The whole point is to understand that it's a pleasure for me to give, and what I have is to give. And for example, the people that help us in the yeshiva, as we said, for their hatzlacha, these are very special people that understand that the Torah is dependent on that, and I can tell you that those people give to us with not even asking them. All the people that help us to yeshiva is without asking, because these are the people who understand, what it means to be a Jew, what it means to connect to the Torah, to connect to the light, and how important it is, and who gave it to you, and how important it is to give to share it. From here we could understand why is Chag Shavuot is the holiday of white and everything white and so on and so forth. Why we even milk. Shavuot is not only Chag HaTorah, the holiday of the Torah. Shavuot is the holiday of giving, both from the Kadosh Baruch Hu they gave us, and both from us. So Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us, and we have to hand it over. This is, to be a Jew is not a lifestyle that we choose. To be a Jew is a torch that we were handed, and we need to hand it over to the next one. And for that, we need everybody together. We need everybody to whatever they can. That's why everything has to be white in this Chag. That's why we eat white food, milk, dairies, and stuff like this. We wear white, and so on and so forth. But that is a wonderful holiday. It's a wonderful holiday. And that's why we stay up at night. We stay up at night that we could feel the Torah. That's why we should stay there. So if you're going to be tired, and you know that you're not going to stay up, because every year you fall asleep, you can do one or two things. Either try to really waken yourself up and do so, and to be able to connect to the light that was happening when we received the Torah, and you would, or just simply go to sleep, and then in the morning daven appropriate. You know, years ago, I would say about maybe like 25 years ago, I was sitting in shul, and I was learning with someone. We were learning together, and the windows were open. All of a sudden, like I would say an hour before we were supposed to daven, we hear thunders and lightning, but we didn't see any rain, and we thought that it was really weird. And then all of a sudden, both him and I heard a sound of shofar, and we both looked at each other and said, "What in the world is that?" I mean, it was very loud. It wasn't just a regular shofar. It was loud. So I said to him, "You know what? I don't know what it is, but there are thunders and lightning, and there's no rain, and we're hearing, both you and I heard it. Nobody else heard it. It means it's a siman for us to continue toiling even harder in the Torah, and let's do so together be'ahava, mamash, with chavruta, together, betzavta, as they say." And it was a tremendous experience. Rabotai, please, don't let another holiday go without you connecting to the event, to the spiritual, to the inside of it. Connect to it. Even if we cannot be in shul, take a nap tomorrow. Stay up all night. Learn. daven in הנצח חמה. בהתגברות, כמו גיבור, לא ככה עייף. כמו גיבור, like a hero. As you receive the Torah. ומעלה עליך הכתוב, and then it will be as if you received it in Torah. By the way, there's another case that it will count to us as if we receive it in Torah, and I wish on all of us that will happen. That is, Hazal tells us, when a person hears his grandson recite the Torah, it is counted as if he, at that moment, received the Torah from Sinai. So I wish on all of us that we shall have the zchut to hear not only from our grandchildren the Torah, but from our great-great-grandchildren. We should have the zchut to hear from them, learning the Torah, saying or reciting the Torah, sharing it. And I wish all Am Yisrael, bריאות, עושר ועושר, אחווה, אהבה, shalom ורעות. Chag Sameach, everybody. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see you after Shavuot. If you have any questions until then, you can reach us as Rabbi Gaon. Check us on our Yeshiva Gaon. Yeshiva Etzion.com, Rabbi Gaon at gmail.com, and on Instagram and Facebook. And again, everybody, Chag Kasher v'Sameach, Yizku l'shanim ravot, tovot u'neimot, Shabbat Shalom v'Chag Sameach.